Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. This is a special meeting with the Historic Preservation Commission. Attending are Commissioners Duncan, Brooks, and Filios. Also joining us is Walter Burns, who is the chairman of the Historic Preservation Commission, to present his annual report. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Hearing none. Walt, it's all yours, sir. Yeah, try to get.
So I turned mine on. Yeah, make sure, so everything,
How about that? That work?
nope.
Nope.
You'll know, you'll know.
Real close, we're literally
Close.
within a couple inches.
Okay,
There you go.
there we go.
Yep, and
Okay.
you can move it up higher if you want.
All right, I can do that too.
There you go.
All right. Okay, I'm Walter Burns. I'm the acting chairman of the Historic Preservation Commission. We'll be voting on permanent members in our permanent officers next week in our regular meeting. Thank you for the two new members you've appointed. They are both very qualified. They're both very enthusiastic, and I think they'll be worthy additions. We're now a very young commission, really. Of the 7 of us, 5 of us have been on the board, on the commission 2 years or less. So, and then we have Lori and Russ, who have been around longer and can kind of advise us on what's gone on before. It's quite helpful to us all. 2020 projects. What we did last year, we reached 2 major milestones. The first is that Ponderay City, which is an archaeological site in Button Hook Bay in the south end of Lake Ponderay, has now been officially added to the National Register of Historic Places. Good. So that's a big deal. That's been in the works for quite a while, as all you know. We are preparing a press release for that, which we will go over at our next meeting and then pass on to you folks for approval. The other big project that we completed in 2020 was the survey of the reconnaissance survey of the Garden District, downtown Coeur d'Alene. This ended up being a much larger project than we expected. The people in the Garden District had told us it was 300 structures. It turned out to be 530.
Whoa.
Wow.
So that, plus the effects of COVID-19, caused that to be delayed a little bit, but the state office was kind enough to extend us a little bit. It is now complete. It's a very intriguing document. The consultant who prepared it all, conducted the survey, feels strongly that the Garden District is eligible for the National Historic Preservation List. It's been submitted to the State Historic Preservation Office for review. That'll take however long it takes, and then it will come back. But at this point, our commission's involvement with this project is pretty much over, as the State Historic Preservation Office has requested that we hand it off to the newly formed Coeur d'Alene Historic Preservation Commission. And that makes sense. It's in their borders and in their planning district. So that's where that will go from here. Let's see if I missed anything. What's that? As far as what we've got ahead of us, we're currently have 3 grants that we are involved in. The first is a 2020 grant to conduct a reconnaissance survey of the Cougar Gulch area. We've hired a consultant, and that is underway. The second one is a 2021 grant that is earmarked at this point for a yet-to-be-specified survey of some historic area within the county, or areas. We had originally requested a grant for the community hall, Meadowbrook Community Hall out in Cougar Gulch, but the State Historic Preservation Commission determined that had been too altered to really qualify. So instead of the $3,000 we asked for that, they gave us $7,000 for a larger survey. So that's a good deal. We're going to be talking about that in our next meeting, and we're trying to determine fairly quickly what we're going to do. Probably the leading suggestion at this point is that we explore historic properties in the northeast part of the county, Athol, Bayview, excluding Farragut. We find the third grant that we have is for the members of the commission to attend the annual Heritage Conference, and I believe it's this year. It's going to be in Pocatello in the fall. So that requires no action until that time. Other things that we've been talking about, one of our new members has come up with the idea of maybe producing a series of short videos that highlight historic sites and activities here within the county that we would then post on the county's website if you approved of such a thing. We're exploring that. We're very early in that. We're exploring that, including how do we pay for it. So we're working on that. Moving ahead, I really look forward to integrating the new members into our commission. It's been a little chaotic this year, as you can imagine, but I think we've got some momentum now, and I feel good about it. One of the things I really want to accomplish is to make this for the commission to be more decisive and more action-oriented. We have a tendency to push agenda items to the next meeting, and I'd like to see a lot less of that so that we can get involved in more that we do and, really accomplish something going forward. Even though, we really have accomplished quite a bit in the last year. It's been a lot. So that's about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
Leslie, Bill,
Thank you for doing that.
good job.
My pleasure.
And the idea of the videos, just the idea of raising the visibility of what you guys do.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah.
And we've talked about, looking at, maybe some video company would be willing to do this for us on a free basis, or we can do it on an amateur basis. And, there's lots of ways to go, but we've got to discuss it. Joe came up with this idea and has been putting it forward, so I like that. And we'll come up with other ideas for the year. We've got a couple of good projects to keep us busy, but we're going to come up with more, and we'll bring them to you then.
How do you identify potential historic sites?
From knowledge of the membership mostly.
Uh-huh.
Courtney Beebe was the one who brought up Cougar Gulch. She lives out there, and that's important to her. Lori Mauser brought us the suggestion that we do the northeast portion of the county. I'm the one that brought in the Garden District back before there was a city commission. So that's basically where things come from. I think, according to Lori, I believe there is an inventory of projects, properties, and sites that exist that needs to be updated. So that's another thing we can put on the agenda for this year. I'd like to see what's involved in that.
So now, what determines whether a property, let's say, lists as state historical, or for that matter, federal or national, rather?
Well, what we do is we nominate things for the National Historic Register through the State Historic Preservation Office. We're a certified local government, which is a complete misnomer for what we do.
Yeah.
But we're entrusted with the idea of identifying and nominating properties, districts, sites, etc., for the National Historic Register. As far as a state historic register, I'm not sure. I don't know our status with regard to that. That's something to look into.
Okay.
And of course, there's nothing locally here.
So Ponderay, the city of Ponderay is categorized as?
It is a national, it is listed on the National Historic Preservation listing, so it's very official now. We just, at last meeting, we had not received the official letter from the Parks Department, National Park Service, so that's why we've held off on announcing it. And of course, these things are coming to fruition at the same time, so we've got a couple of press releases, but we'll want to stagger them a little bit so that we can maximize the exposure that we get from that.
Thank you. Any other questions for Walter?
Yeah, are you guys still holding the essay contest?
Good question.
No, and I wasn't even aware of that until about a month ago when Chandra Newberry brought it up to me. And that's something we could pursue getting back into. I know some of the members, Lori and Russ, would have had some experience with that. None of the rest of us have. I didn't even know about it.
The other thing too is when you start your outreach for that, you could put something to the effect that we're looking for high school amateur video makers. Send us a
Yeah, there you go.
I like that idea.
30-second clip or something of something that you see and vision for this, and you can use them. I'm sure they would love the opportunity and exposure.
That's a terrific idea and tie in with what they're doing in school, yeah.
They can
That'd be
potentially
great.
turn it into a project, absolutely.
I like that a
School
lot.
project, yeah.
Thank you, Leslie.
Yep.
So, yeah, I will put that on the agenda for the next meeting. We've been getting fairly long agendas lately, so, but I will add that on and we'll move forward with it, get it reinstituted.
Super.
Okay, thank you.
You're doing good things, really.
We're enjoying it.
You're
It's-
accelerating it.
Yeah, and it's interesting, now that now that Coeur d'Alene has their own commission, forcing us to look outward a little bit more, into other parts of the county. It's really easy to stay very, very close because that's where we all live.
Right.
So it is forcing us to look outward, and I think that's a good thing. At some point, we may want to try to see if we want to get involved with the tribe and see if there's
I
anything.
was just going to answer
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's probably a very worthy goal going forward. Because as far as I know, that hasn't been addressed in terms of bringing anything to the National Historic Register, our CLG duties.
Anything else? None. Any public comment? Hearing none. 1:47, meeting adjourned. Thank you so much, Walter. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and look forward to working with you in the future.
Likewise.